Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Jason Bitbender Brink, and I am here with the amazing and incomparable Vox Idol team with Ali, Jonathan, and Corey. And we're here to talk to you guys a little bit about Vox Idol. I am here to facilitate this only. This is Ali, the Vox Mother's show. And so I'll let him take it away, and I'm just going to pull questions out of Discord and yeet them at people as we go forward with this.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Jace. What's up, everyone? This is Ali, the Vox mother, the Vox stepfather, son of Vox. I have so many nicknames. Please help me pick one.
What do you guys think? Let's hear in the Vox. By the way, this is all happening in galagames.chat, which is our Discord. Join our Discord, and we can, join the Vox Idol discussion. And what do you guys think? What should we call Ali? What's it going to be?
Shooty Booms.
I need a name. I do go by NF Doom in Discord. And
NF Doom, okay.
So, at NF Doom, hit me up.
I appreciate that, Pod.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is, as promised, a chance for us to talk in a little bit more detail about Vox Idol. I know we kind of dropped that bomb on you guys a little bit out of nowhere last time with the AMA with Will Wright, and so I've got two of the brilliant minds that are super involved in thinking this up and building it, and we are here to answer any questions that you guys have. A couple of questions that we've been seeing in the Discord over the last week or so since this has been announced, so we do have some stuff that we want to go through, but really trying to open this up as like an open forum, get people's thoughts. I will say from the get-go, people that are watching this, you will be handsomely rewarded with leaks. There are so many leaks in this video, in this AMA.
Leaks?
Leaks.
Okay. Ooh, Crown Looter, Vox Nanny.
Ooh.
You could be the Vox Nanny. I kind of like it a little bit.
You didn't like Voxy McVox face?
Voxy McVox face is kind of good, but the Mick blank Mick face, that's a little overdone. Coots, yeah, this should be streaming on YouTube. Go check it out. It's on our channel. And Jonathan the Leak Burke. There we go. What is going on here? Okay.
Well, I don't know if we want to jump into some questions, but there are a couple.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's hit the questions.
There are two that I think are worth addressing, at least before. And I'm sorry if I missed any, but I don't know. One was from Large Timmy, and we had actually been discussing this one internally. He said, I have a question for the AMA. If you're pre-selecting, some runner idle games have QuickTime events that give the idle character some bonus event, but it also plays fine fully idle. He said a good example for what I'm talking about is Idle Slayer. So what he's asking is, what are your design goals about how idle we want it to be? And we discussed this behind the scenes a good bit, and so I think we actually put some numbers in the channel, but just figure it's good to kind of look at for everybody. And say that what we're tentatively looking at here is, it should be playable basically depending on how much time you want to put into it, right? So if you're not wanting to put a whole ton of time into it, people have jobs. That's definitely a thing. If you aren't able to look at it every hour, you shouldn't have to at all. But if you're more interested in like interacting with it more frequently, I think we'd want to reward that as well. I think that's kind of fun, if you're able to check it when you're at a bus stop or whatever have you. And so I think we talked about the adventure times being, I have to pull it back up. Corey, do you remember offhand? I think we had it written down, but
I think 3 hours, 8 hours, and like 24 hours were like the kind of ranges that we're looking at. And then, like, we talk about like the bus stops. We're kind of thinking that there'll be these moments where, like, when you actually interact with it, like, you go see a button or you push a button, like, we have your attention, and like for the next bit of time, we're going to give you like some decisions or maybe some audio. Like, we're kind of trying to figure out what it is going to be, but to have there be like some nice decisions to be made and choices, and then it'll go, your Vox will go off and do cool things and come back again later. But we're definitely not going to try and like be pinging you continuously.
Hey guys, just thought of a question that I probably should have asked before we hopped into more specific stuff, which is,
Okay.
what the hell is Vox Idol and why should I care about it?
Okay. What is it? Tell
So,
us.
just for the folks that maybe aren't as keyed in, maybe didn't catch the Will Wright AMA, maybe you haven't been in the Vox chats over the last week, but Vox Idol is sort of the first step on the long road to Voxverse. So, as you guys may know, we're working with Will Wright, who's one of the coolest people on earth, but also one of the most brilliant minds when it comes to creating interesting simulation experiences. The direction that we're taking Voxverse in is all about breathing life into your avatars. He really wants these guys to be your family, your posse, your crew, and just make them as quirky and interesting and dynamic as possible, and really turn Voxverse into what we're calling like the friends feature of the future, basically, where it's like you're in the Gala Games ecosystem, you're playing all these games, you're listening to music, you're watching movies, you're doing whatever. This is your sort of space to congregate, to decompress, to tell someone about the cool stuff that happened with you in Spider Tanks. And so all this to say, like we envision these as things that you take, and big asterisks here, like the I don't want to like promise us into years and years and years of engineering lift, but like the vision that what we're talking about with Will Wright right now is how can you take a box into a game experience and come out of it with something material that changes materially how you interact with other people, what your box is doing, what your box is saying, all that jazz. And again, all this to say that Voxverse is a huge undertaking. It is a big, innovative, dynamic thing. And we don't want you to have to wait on utility until we can deliver that in the fashion that it deserves to be delivered in. And so Jonathan and Corey here were some of the driving forces that really had you guys' back and we're saying, guys, we need something for the community ASAP. We don't make empty promises here at Gala. And so that's what Vox Idol is. Vox Idol is your first chance to really get innate for your Vox. And when I say innate, I mean not dependent on any of our other games. This is a Vox title, so it's not about Town Star. It's not about what you can do in the Walking Dead empires, which, the Walking Dead Vox will have that utility and will give you cool buffs and stuff, but we want something more uniquely Vox. And so it's a Discord game, a chat-based game, like the MUDs of old. What do we say MUD stand for?
Multi-user dungeon.
Multi-user
Oh my
dungeon.
God. Did you just what is this mud thing?
I know what a MUD is, but Jonathan and I were talking yesterday and he said it was like massive online dungeon or something. And so it's a bit of a joke in our
Massive
team.
online
What does MUD
dungeon?
stand for?
Oh,
Massive
It's a
online.
oh my God.
I love the face palm there. That was good.
It's like the MUDs of old, and it's your chance to take your Vox on adventures in the lead up to Voxverse, and really just like build value for yourself that will translate into Voxverse.
Sure.
Give you a leg up and really participate in being kind of a founding father, as we're thinking about it.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to yeet a couple thoughts into this. One of the things that that I want to really focus on here is how we're working very hard to give users utility and access to games and NFTs and things like that, more experience forward. Because one of the things that we've done in the past and that I think that we can do better on is making sure that people have an opportunity to actually play with their stuff rather than, pre-sailing something and then having to wait, forever and ever and ever for it to be usable. What we'd rather do is we'd rather have something that you can use it as quickly as possible, or if we're going to bring something to the ecosystem, that people are able to see how that is usable a little bit more quickly and at least actually get a chance to play with their assets. So that's something that I'm super passionate about. And I see Lindoko asking some questions in there. And some of this is in response to some long, deep late night conversations I've been having with community members about, giving them that experience up front and as quickly as possible. So we have a question, from Lindoko actually. Will Vox Idol rewards be bridgeable to ETH?
So they will not at current. Like, there's nothing that's going to be on chain with Vox Idol at the bat, right? And so I know that there's going to be the ability to take what you've earned in Vox Idol and port it in some way, shape, or form, right? We're not entirely sure what that form is going to take into Voxverse. So, Will Wright has talked about it being the difference between being like, a prince or a pauper. And so it's definitely going to impact how you end up moving into Voxverse. But at current, I know that the resources and stuff like that are not going to be like ERC 1155s or anything.
Okay, perfect. Can you give, and this is from Zeta, can you give some examples of what something that could be earned in Vox Idol to Vox? Basically, let's put a hypothetical situation for what that might look like. Something that you could earn in Vox Idol, and then how it might work out. Completely open to how Will Wright decides to do this, be brought into Voxverse.
So the way in the conversations we've had with Will, it's been kind of like, which is an easy one, is like kind of domiciles. So like, where do you live? So you're going out on these adventures, or sorry, we mentioned this in the last AMA, but you've got tasks, which are kind of more basic things, little missions, and then adventures, which are more interesting, longer ones. But say you're going out on a task or adventure, the resources could be, wood, metal, precious stones, stuff like that. And then that stuff obviously is getting reported as you collect it and collect it and collect it. And then in Will's mind, at least the current champion thought is that ends up going into some sort of recipe, which translates into your starting domicile in Voxverse. So do you live in a penthouse, or do you live with a bunch of roommates on the Lower East Side? Like, where are you at?
I like that analogy, because I think that this is one of those situations where putting in the effort up front can really make a big difference later on in unexpected ways sometimes. Okay, New York Nate, can you tell us how the rarity score of various Vox will factor into the game? Or will they not? Or do we not know?
So I think we don't necessarily know yet. And Corey, I don't know, maybe if you want to give your thoughts on this too. But my kind of noodling on it is, what we really want to focus on, what makes for a good game, is, the difference of kind, not a difference of scale. Where a difference of scale is like if you have a sword and it's +1, and then a sword that's +2. Well, what are you going to pick? Always the +2 sword, right? But if you have a fire sword and an ice sword, what are you going to pick out of those two? And I think it should be the same with Vox, where, it's not necessarily going to be that a chicken, for instance, is always going to be the best pick. I don't think it should be. But I think at least what we're discussing, right, is that chickens should have kind of their unique forms of adventures and things like that. And so the rarer your Vox, I have a feeling like you're going to get to have more rare type of experiences. But, tentative, we're still noodling on it, right? I don't know. Corey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I can see, like, your dragon or your Materium sword and things like that maybe being a little better to start with, like to have like a better inherent things. But what we're trying to focus on for sure is like elevating the unique traits of the Vox. Like, one of the key things about Vox to me is that each one is unique, right? It's got its own set of like traits and class and all of those things. And so that even if you have like a halfling and I have a halfling, they should, like, the differences in that should be meaningful into like the where they shine or where they play. So we're going to try and put a large emphasis on the traits of your Vox. The rarity might come into it, but definitely the uniqueness is 100% gonna like be a focus.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the rarity is driven by the uniqueness and things like that. So I think that that's pretty cool. I like the fact, and this is something that Lindoko put out. He says it's interesting that nobody, no whale, can come in and buy up early adopter equity, since you have to actually play with these yourselves. So this is a great way to create a really broad-based ecosystem foundation that's not centered in, you know, the hands of a couple people who came and, you know, bought everything. So I really like that, and, you know, it kind of boils down to a lot of what we do with, you know, the node ecosystems and whatnot. It's rewards based on actual actions, as opposed to, you know, on how important you are. Okay, so how will this work if you have more than one Vox? Asks Ed777.
Yeah. So if you have more than one Vox, you're going to be able to give them a bunch of different commands, right? So each Vox is going to be kind of the equivalent of one unit, where you can say, I want you to go off an adventure. Well, if you have two Voxes, you can have two adventures running at the same time. If you have two Voxes, you can have two tasks running at the same time, right? And then it also
is group adventuring a thing? Can I like have a little group that I send on an adventure?
So this is really Corey's big shtick, which is events, and I think that's probably, if you want to talk on that.
Yeah. So this probably won't be at the immediate launch, as it's a little bigger. But one of the things that I really want this game to have is, because it's a Discord thing, it's going to be like in a community social space already. So I want to have what we're calling events, which are kind of like adventures, but they're multi-user, right? So you can use your Voxes, or you can have like, you know, like maybe I'm going out and like I got Jonathan and Ollie, and we're gonna like both or send all three of our Vox together to go do a thing. Maybe it's a giant like adventure fighting a dragon, maybe it's a, you know, sailing adventure or a cook-off, and they'll be rotating so that even if your Vox is not particularly like doesn't shine at the event, or the like this week's events, or week is just a guess, or month or whatever. The interval yet to be determined. But like the next set of events, maybe my Vox will be like much cooler, and you're going to be trying to get like synergies. Like if we have like a cook-off and we have like three different like an elf and an orc and a halfling, they're all very like different in their you know, what like the food they make. So together you get the synergy of like sampler platter. So because they are different and they have these different traits, when we go do them together, there's like an extra bonus. So you're like trying to see how your particular Vox would play well with the others, and having multiple of your own Vox, you would obviously get those two rewards, and you get to like see more puzzle pieces go together, make like cooler choices.
I like it. That sounds super cool.
Really,
And one thought on this. So if they're asking like how does it work with multiple Vox? One of the fun discussions that we had with Will Wright is like, what is a Vox to you? Like, is it your digital identity? Is it a friend? Is it a worker? Is it a like what is it? And I love the analogy of the posse, which he came up with, which is it's your entourage of people, so you can have multiple of them. I don't know if any of you guys are big GTA folks, but I love the like GTA 5 where you're switching between different characters. That's kind of how I think about them. Like they're you.
Nice.
It is simultaneously your posse and yourself, which is a cool way of thinking about it. But I think if you have multiple Vox that have different efficiencies, and engineers correct me if I'm wrong here, but different Vox will have different adventures and tasks open to them depending on their type, right?
Right.
So the Walking Dead Vox, for example, are going to be doing stuff that doesn't necessarily show up for, you know, Townstar Vox, and vice versa. You're gathering different resources, and so it's interesting how these.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just really intrigued to see how this pans out into different adventures for different people, and like what cool cocktails we end up coming up with.
So you're implying that I can't send my little rancher Vox to go hunt down and kill Rick as part of a walker horde? That makes me very sad. I don't know if I can get on board with this. Okay. So Lindoko would like to know if Vox Idol will have a leaderboard, and then I have a really good question here from somebody else. Will there be a leaderboard starters?
so something we'd also been talking about here is, I think it's really, really fun when you have different like announcements. That way you feel really connected, right? And so at least kind of what we're talking about, and this is really in the planning stage at the moment, this integration with Discord is, and so what we're talking about potentially having is like a little channel for various like events that happened within the world potentially. So someone just went on this adventure and successfully, slew the Kraken or whatever. And it might give a little announcement on that, or it might say like, hey, these are the people today who have the highest resources or whatever. But I think it'd be really neat to have something that really kind of makes it feel more cohesive and linked.
Yeah, I like it. Connected. Okay, now this is possibly my favorite question. I have to go back to it. It was from Osbabuli, who I would like to thank for his question. It says, are earned materials given to the Vox holder's account or to the Vox itself? Implication of that being that if that Vox is then transferred, does access to that stuff travel with it or stay with the person who did it themselves? I know what I want.
We have had conversations about this. Actually, like even yesterday we were talking about this. And I feel like we might have two tracks. Kind of. I know Jonathan is pushing more for like the separation of user versus Vox, right? Like there will be things for sure that are bound to your Vox. Like your Vox is doing things and getting better at it. But then you also have these things like maybe buildings. And correct me if I'm misquoting you here or misrepresenting your stance here. And these are like bound to your user. And this kind of goes back to the thing of having multiple Vox and multiple generations. If your buildings are user bound, then you have your Walking Dead Vox go make a thing. And you have your Miranda's Vox go make a thing, then you get like things that you couldn't necessarily have from having only one of those generations. And then if you get rid of those Vox, those buildings would stay with you, but there's also things that will stay with the Vox. So it's kind of like both and.
Interesting.
Yes. Current thoughts on it. We're trying to figure out what the like balance will be, what like feels good and makes sense,
I totally get that. I mean, for me personally, I love the idea that whatever it is that you do travels with the actual NFT itself, because then you have the ability to have somebody literally building value in their NFT for a future game, and then just have that move across. You could even set it up so that there's like a little website that you go to where you enter in the number and it gives like stats on that specific Vox pulled from the DB, so everybody can see this guy is an absolute beast at cutting down lumber and has built up this massive supply of wood. I'm very interested in that, so maybe I would like to make an offer on this so that I can get access to that as well. But then maybe that breaks the system. I don't know.
No, I think you're actually like spot on with kind of what we're thinking. The difference being that, and this is kind of what we're talking about design wise, and I feel like this is actually good just to talk about here with everybody.
Yeah.
So design wise, you kind of have to have some cohesion as well. Let's say you own 5 different Vox, or even if you're potentially wanting to later on down the line, no promises now, but rent Vox and that sort of thing, or pay for hired work, that kind of thing, then you need to have something that you are basically building up, something that is like a clan of sorts, or I don't know. And so I figured that would probably be the user account. At least that's kind of
okay.
And so that way you have something that they're all working together to accomplish.
Gotcha. I like that. I like that too. Zeta has another. Oh, sorry.
Real quick, you mentioned a thing about like this character is an absolute beast at like chopping down wood and things. And that was another thing that we had discussed, where it'd be good if like, so how like a lot of games you kind of like end up maxing out all your stats, and you go through like all the content, you do all the things, and like there was like the choices you made were really just about like the order that you did the things, not really like what you were good at and what you did. That especially given like the focus on uniqueness, like that never feels good. So we're going to try and have it so that your Vox do specialize in things. Like there will be things that they are just better at, even if you played like a little less, but you focus on a different thing. Someone who played more and they focus on a different thing, who better at the thing you focus on, right? Like
right.
That is the thing we want to push forward. Like we want to elevate the uniqueness of the Vox.
Okay, so I got a couple questions here. This is from Zeta. I just kind of want to give a little bit of clarification here. He says it's been said several times that Town Star Vox would always be more special as they were the first. Okay, very important point. One hand, yes, they're always going to be the first. Okay, they will always be that first edition Vox. This does not necessarily mean that a Town Star Vox is going to be 100% absolutely for sure better than some other Vox in some other given context. Town Star Vox are the best in Town Star, and they're also the first, and therefore you want to have something that's the absolute first, right? I mean, that's kind of how that goes. So that's an important piece of context, and Goat Guy actually clarified here, and yes, it is specific to the game. It would be silly to have a Town Star farmer have some sort of super special, usage in the Walking Dead Empire. Just it doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so sorry, go ahead. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay, that's right. This is only going to be a half hour AMA, guys. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
I have so much to share. I'm wondering, is there like a lot to go through, and can we make the AMA a bit longer if there are other questions?
We can make yeah. People always have questions. I mean, or alternatively, we can just stop it now and not share anything. I mean, that's
I like that one.
They might enjoy that more. But maybe no. Okay, so yeah, go ahead. Like we can. How are you doing on time, Jonathan, Corey, Paul in the background? How are we doing? Can we stretch this out another few minutes?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good to go. I can start running through my secret list of things to cover at the end.
Run through your secret list of things.
If there are questions, then
they will have more questions that whatever you share, it will inspire for sure. So go for it.
For sure.
But one thing I just wanted to hop in and say, if that's okay, is it's just a fun Easter egg for them. They asked if there would be cosmetics, and they mentioned the party hat. So there is already a party hat right from the original Town Star, right? That was one of the yeah. I'm pretty sure that made it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I was going to mention, just as a fun fact, that it used to it was big enough that it extended well beyond the range of what was rendered. And so
I remember that.
Just kind of a fun little behind the scenes thing. As far as cosmetics for Vox Idol, I don't know, but
okay.
All right.
Take it away, Ali.
Cool. Good Easter egg.
The
All right,
Vox
guys. Of all the questions that I've been asked, the one that has appeared the most frequently is how much will the Walking Dead Vox cost? And if you tuned in to this AMA, congratulations, you get to know first.
They don't want to know. Nobody's been interested.
All right, yeah, fair point. All right, let's skip that one. I have some other announcements here.
No, tell the people, they'll kill me.
All right, guys. I've heard 8.88 ETH. I've heard 1.88. There's been a lot of rumors lumbering around. We thought about this long and hard.
I don't even know the answer to this question, so I'm
doesn't?
super excited.
We thought about this long and hard, and we decided that for this one, we do not want to raise the price. So the price for a Walking Dead Vox box will be 0.888 ETH in Gala, same as Miranda's Vox. We didn't want to do some like big money grabby, let's hike the price up to whatever. We wanted to kind of just focus on doing something really cool for you guys. We didn't want to launch this without being able to have the North Star Vox Idol for everyone to look forward to. And so hopefully with that, we can get really kind of excited about the utility of these guys, and less about just selling things. So yeah, that's the price. 0.888
like it.
In Gala only. You gotta buy it in Gala.
I think that's important to for the community to recognize that things don't go down, but they don't always have to go up. And I think that you can see we're doing some experimentation in a few different areas with that. So that's one thing that we've listened to you guys on there for that one. Okay, Ellie, take it away. What's next?
All right. So in terms of timings, so we spoke about pre-sale or like the whitelist for people that own 2 or more nodes. So just some mechanics on that. So if you own and operate 2 or more nodes, you will be able to buy a VoxBox. What's that finger?
The finger is that founders nodes or are town nodes part of that as well?
Founders nodes.
Founders nodes only. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for the finger. Founders
No
nodes.
problem. Different one than I usually use, but
Yeah. So you are going to be able to have a super clean experience and just purchase your VoxBox on the platform in a window of time that where it won't be available for people that don't satisfy that condition, and that is going to be 6 a.m. PST through to 1 p.m. PST. That's the
on when? What date? What's the date?
Yeah, good question. On March 28th, so the same day
March
that we go
28th.
live.
Shit, man, I'm
so-
gonna be flying. You can't do that to me.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna be
oh,
like
boy.
in a jet trying to screw around with Wi-Fi. Like, it'd be terrible. Oh,
That
Okay,
jet Wi-Fi
sorry.
will cost more than the Vox itself, man.
that's actually accurate. Okay, sorry. Continue.
All right, so 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. PST is going to be the pre-sale, and then the general sale will go live at 4 p.m. PST. So that's when it will open up to the general public, and everyone will be able to buy one on the platform. Pretty much same mechanics as Miranda's Vox, and we will be sending out comms just to kind of remind everyone of how that worked, and just so everyone is on the same page. So cool. One thing I wanted to touch on is we've been hearing a lot about, like, obviously interoperability, huge, one of the tenets of Web3. We've been hearing a lot about, like, hey, when are we gonna start playing nicer with other metaverses? You know, what cool stuff can we do so that maybe we stop being as insular?
Walled garden was the phrase that was used several times last night in a conversation.
I love that
Lindoco, I
phrase.
know you're listening.
And so this is something that's on my mind as like kind of the product owner on Vox, and it's absolutely something that's going to be one of the very first conversations that we want to think about and staff up for once we get past this Walking Dead sale. But one kind of first step there is that we wanted to reach out to other communities and start to get them involved in the Vox community, and that can be really hard when Vox get gobbled up in very, very little time, and obviously home team advantage applies. And so we are doing whitelists for other communities capped at 50 boxes. Didn't want like anyone to, like, obviously Elf didn't want anyone to like find this out and shout it out on the Discord. So just being super upfront with you guys about it. It's going to be raffles for other communities that have shown like interest in Gala or that we think could be really cool partners in the future. It's very much geared to be the start of like partnerships with different metaverses. And we could not do that without doing a whitelist raffle for the Gala Games community. And so we are doing a whitelist raffle, whereas the other ones are capped at 50 spots. We are doing a raffle for 200 whitelist spots for the Gala community. So if you don't satisfy the node thingy-majig, you still have the chance to get a whitelist. So drop that bomb.
Okay, there you go.
What else I got here? Vox Discord, we spoke about that. We are tabling that just so everyone is aware. We want to do that when it makes sense. I think as we get closer to Vox Idol launch and Voxverse launch, like that's definitely something that we want to consider more and talk about more and hear your thoughts about. But that's just not happening anytime imminently. And then what else? That's it. Walking Dead Vox dropping soon. Super, super excited. Oh, and we got a leak for you, I think. Unless
What,
Jason,
leak?
you got some.
No, I'm just here, like people are asking questions about the whitelist process and things like that. I'm guessing.
So I can give a little. little bit of context there. So the node whitelist will be, as I said, clean on the platform. The other whitelist will be less clean and will involve wallet addresses. But we will send out communication on exactly how that will work. But it won't be just a straight up go buy on the platform. It'll be
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick note. When we talk about the node side of things, this is not the same thing that was attempted for the very first initial Vox drop. Okay, it is not that like weird ass password thing that didn't work and people were able to operate against the contract. It's an entirely different thing. So no stress there. Figgy wants to know if we can talk about the other communities we're speaking with or no.
Let me get back.
Can we talk about one? Maybe. I don't know. I don't actually know who we're talking to. So if we can't, that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's not some big secret, but I just need to like run it by the Vox father and just make sure that we're
Okay.
good to go on
I
that.
feel
But
like
yeah,
I feel like I know, but I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, let's table that one.
But answering Zeta's question, Zeta asks, what are the measures in place to not let the same reveal exploit happen as happened with the Mirandus Vox? That whole system's been completely reworked. So basically, for those who are not fully like versed on it, what we're doing for each and every single exchange of the Vox box is there's actually a call to chain link and a whole new random generation for that to make sure that there's no way that that can be, exploited. So that completely clears up that whole thing. So yeah, and that's already been used with the stash boxes. Okay,
Good stuff.
let's go.
That's all my logistics. Maybe it's time for a leak.
A leak.
Leak. Leak them out.
Leak. Where's the leak?
Maybe if we say leak enough, it'll happen. Oh,
here we go.
Hype.
more to come, guys. More to come.
Holy fucking shit, that was cool. I've never seen that before. Wow. Okay. So I think that's it. That's it for today, guys. Is there anything else that we need to go over? I know there are probably some other questions, but we're gonna do this again.
Yeah, and I'll be in Discord. Tag me at NFDoom if you have any questions. Happy to chat.
And we'll be watching it too, especially the Vox Idol chat, just seeing what y'all are thinking and kind of hopefully staying really, really transparent and talking about y'all or talking about it through the development process.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll catch up with all of you soon. Thanks for listening in. And join our Discord at galagames.chat if you're not already a member for more kick-ass stuff like that. Peace, Bitbender, and everyone else out.